It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is episode F153, and we shall now talk about the words. The first word in this episode is the word foam. F-O-A-M. First form, noun from before the 12th century. All right, let's go to the regular voice now. Number one for foam is a light, frothy mass of fine bubbles formed in or on the surface of a liquid or from a liquid, as we got some sub-definitions. 1A, a frothy mass formed in salivating or sweating. I believe when an animal or a human gets the rabies, they get this foamy saliva. It's what is going on with the rabies? Oh, I learned this at one point. It's like you're always wanting to like eat or drink, and you can't get satiated, and your brain is telling you that you can't get satiated, and so you're constantly building this weird saliva or something. Yeah, that's that one. 1B is a stabilized froth produced chemically or mechanically and used especially in fighting oil fires. So maybe when you have a fire extinguisher that is meant to put out an oil fire, it's going to come out very foamy. I think just the regular fire extinguisher goopy stuff is foamy. But yeah, scientists are getting pretty clever with how they put out fires, and yeah, I think I've heard about these foamy things that will put out a fire. 1C is a material in a lightweight cellular form resulting from introduction of gas bubbles during manufacture. Material, lightweight. So I think of those packing peanuts as being this kind of foam, resulting from introduction of gas bubbles during manufacture. So what is it? That they've got this material, and then they inject some gas bubbles into it, and it maybe puffs up in a way. It's like probably half air or more than half air. I mean, geez, we're probably like half air. That's a foam. That's a lot of foam. But let's go back to number one. A light, frothy mass of fine bubbles formed in or on the surface of a liquid. Of course, when you get an espresso drink, a cafe drink from a cafe, especially here in America. I mean, they do it in other places too. You might want a little bit of that foam on top of your drink. I don't particularly care for the foam. I think it is a little bit of a waste. But I know people, they really, really love their foam. So when I was first learning how to make these drinks, I was working at a bar, bistro, cafe at a movie theater, which this thing does not exist anymore. But I was working there, so I had to learn the espresso machine. And I was not a drinker of the espresso drink, so I didn't know all the different ones. But the main two are the latte and the cappuccino. Cappuccino! And they're similar, except in how much foam there is. With the latte, you are heating up the milk, and you are frothing it just on the top. You're making a bit of froth, and then you pour the milk onto the espresso, and then you put in a little bit of the foam on the top. Maybe like half inch, whatever it is. And then there's the cappuccino. And what I was taught was that the cappuccino is about 1/3 foam. So if your whole drink is this big, this much-ish is foam. And that's a lot of foam, and I just don't really get it. I don't fully understand. You're not getting as much of the substance, but I guess you must really like the foam. Now, I don't know how the cappuccino is different in other countries like Europe. I mean, the whole coffee situation is different in Europe. The drinks are smaller, first of all. So, I guess a cappuccino, it's going to be a good chunk of foam, but you're still getting some good drink in there too, I guess. I don't know. I just can't. I can't approve of so much foam. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. It's not that it tastes bad. I just feel like it's like kind of a waste. I don't know. That is just my opinion. I am just one tiny little human who is talking about his opinion to about 50 people. So, we now have more. We have number 2 for foam. The synonym is sea, S-E-A, like the water, the huge bodies of water just right outside my door there. And I don't know, maybe they call it foam because when the waves are going, the tops get a little foamy. Number 3, something resembling foam. Maybe you could call my hair foam because it kind of resembles foam. Sure, I got flocculent foam on top of my head. Foamless is an adjective. Foamless. It sounds so similar to homeless. There's some joke in there somewhere. I got no foam. My cappuccino has no foam. It's foamless. I got a foamless cappuccino. It's a very sad day when your cappuccino is foamless. Maybe you just drank it all. Maybe you scooped it with a spoon. Now your belly is foamful. This word is from the Old English fam, which is akin to the Old High German fame, which means foam, from the Latin spuma. Is that what it is? I think it's spuma, which means foam. Also pumex, I guess is that still Latin? Pumex, which means pumice. And I guess a pumice I think of as very hard, not really foamy, but I don't know, maybe there's some connection there. So yes, those are the words that created the word foam. And now I gotta make I think I want to make a foamy sound effect. Is it like a poof, or is it a like a I don't know what's a foam sound effect. Maybe there's also the foam when you're washing your hands. Maybe we'll go I don't know. I think I kind of like that as a foam sound effect. The second form of foam is a verb from before the 12th century, starting with intransitive. Number 1A. To produce or form foam. To produce foam. To form foam. There is... When you have a block of foam and you are cutting away at it to create a structure, maybe a sculpture of some kind, are you foaming the foam? Or can you only foam when you're literally making the foam? When you are steaming the milk, you are foaming the milk, foaming it up. Boy, this word sounds weird. And I think I heard that it's the milks that foam better are the ones that have more fat in them, because there's something about like the fats and the enzymes or something that get broken apart better when you're steaming it with that wand. And they make more foam, better foam. I don't know. So like whole milk, that's why they often want to use whole milk. But my dairy-free milks, I don't think they foam up as much, and I'm okay with that because, as I said, I don't need the foam. You can give other people my foam. Number 1B for the verb foam is to froth at the mouth, especially in anger, and then broadly, to be angry. You know, I think we're taking this idea from the rabid animals who are foaming at the mouth because they seem angry, like Cujo. But I don't know of anybody who, when they get angry, they're literally creating foam in their mouth. This is much more of a metaphorical situation. When you're foaming, oh, they must be angry. They are angry, so we're going to call them foamy. They are foaming at the mouth. Such a weird thing to say. Number 2, to gush out in foam. To gush out in foam? What is that? Gushers? The candy gushers? No. To gush out in foam. Which one is this? One of those, I don't know, the stabilized froth for the oil fires? That could be it. You're foaming the fire extinguisher because the foam is gushing out. Number 3, to become covered with or as if with foam. The example is streets foaming with life. That is a quote from Thomas Wolfe. Thomas Wolfe said that the streets were foaming with life. There were so many people. It was like there was like a sea, a mass of people. And when you look at it from above, they just look like a foam. That's how many people there were. The people were foamy. To become covered with or as if with a foam. This is one of those examples where that second part of it, as if with, it's like the thing that we're talking about. Not exactly, because people like to use language in a metaphorical way, like this one. And so there is no literal foam that is filling the streets, although maybe if somebody put too much soap in their washing machine and then it overflowed and onto their street, then maybe the street would literally be filled with foam. Now we have transitive. Number 1, to cause to foam. Specifically, to cause air bubbles to form in. Yes, we are putting some air bubbles in the thing. So when you are a barista or a barista then you are foaming the milk. You are doing the transitive action of foaming the milk because you are putting air bubbles in the milk. The hot milk. Number 2, to convert into a foam, and the thing that you might be converting into a foam is plastic. This is, you take the plastic and then you're shooting the air bubbles, the gas bubbles into it, and it creates a foam. And the plastic probably has to be kind of, I don't know, warm and soft and malleable to do this. Foamable is an adjective. Foamer is a noun. And that's all for the word foam, but we got more related words. What was my sound? Something. Foam cell. 2 words. Cell is C-E-L-L. Noun from 1926. A swollen, vacuolated, phagocytic cell filled with lipid inclusions that often accumulates along arterial walls and is characteristic of some conditions of disrupted lipid metabolism. So this cell is swollen. It is vacuolated. No clue what that means. It is a phagocytic cell. That starts with a PH. Don't know what that is either. And it appears, it gets created on the arterial walls, the walls of your arteries inside of your body where the blood is supposed to be going through. But then if you get filled with too many foam cells, then the blood is going to have a harder time to go through the veins and arteries. And it happens when there is a disturbed lipid metabolism. When you're having trouble metabolizing lipids, and I think those are related to like cholesterol and stuff like that. So, eat healthy, and maybe you won't get these foam cells. I'm sure we all have some on some level, but I'm really hoping to not have any foam cells. I don't want to have a heart artery problem. Ugh. Nope. Yeah, foam cell. Sounds great. Now we have foamed plastic. When the plastic is getting foamed, the sound it makes might be... Now we have, it's a noun from 1945. The synonym is expanded plastic because the plastic has literally expanded because it's been foamed. You've been foamed. No, I don't know if I like this sound. Whatever. Foam flower. 1 word. Noun from 1895. This is a spring flowering herb of eastern North America that has white flowers with long stamens and no stem leaves. It's very sad for it. No stem leaves. This is called also false miterwort. And maybe we talked about that way back in the FAs. So, the species name is Tiarella cordifolia. And I think Tiarella sounds like a really beautiful name for a girl or a woman or anyone. Tiarella, doesn't that seem very nice? I hope there are some people named Tiarella out there. It's like tiara, kind of, but then also the Ella from Cinderella. I don't know, something. Okay, so I don't know why it's called foam flower. It doesn't say, but it is a false miterwort. Next is foam rubber. 2 words, noun from circa 1939. This is spongy rubber of fine texture made from latex by foaming before vulcanization. And how are you doing this foaming on this rubber? It says whipping. Whipping? Can you whip the rubber? What? Sorry, I have itches on my face, and I'm gonna scratch them. So how is rubber made? Is it like a liquid first, and then does vulcanization solidify it? I don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know anything about how you make rubber. So it gets whipped, and when you whip things like eggs and other stuff, milk and cream and whatever, you are putting the air bubbles in them. This is the action of the whisking. I don't know if they're literally whisking the rubber, but it's the same idea. And so they're getting the air bubbles in there. It makes it sort of thicker. And then it goes through vulcanization, which I assume has to do with heat. So maybe it gets heated up and put into a solid form. And the rubber becomes spongy. Now, I don't know why it's not called foamed rubber, like the plastic is foamed plastic. It's just foam rubber. Foam rubber. Okay, moving on to foamy. Adjective from before the 12th century. Number 1, covered with foam, and the synonym is frothy. Another place where you get this foam and froth is on a beer, maybe a Guinness. People love just a little bit of that foam on top. They love it so much, and then they take a drink. I just saw a video of Paul Rudd and Seth Meyers. It was a bit that they were doing on Seth Meyers' show, and it was they went out day drinking, and at the beginning of the shoot, Paul Rudd just slams a Guinness, and his mouth is just covered in foam. He had a very foamy mouth, not from rabies, from Guinness. Okay, so think about Paul Rudd and his foamy mouth. It's a very silly video. Number 2, consisting of, or resembling foam. Again, my hair is foamy, I think. Foamily is an adverb, and foaminess is a noun. That Guinness has so much foaminess. You don't want too much foaminess. There's a very special way that people pour Guinnesses so you don't get too much or too little foam. They fill it up about halfway, and they let it sit, and then they fill it up a little bit more. Now we have the word fob, F-O-B, first form. This is a transitive verb from the 14th century. It's archaic, and the synonyms are deceive and cheat. You fobbing me? You trying to fob me with your card playing games? Nah, you ain't gonna fob me. I'll fob you. That's how they use that word. Fobbing. It's from the Middle English fobbin, and I don't know where this comes from. That's all it tells me. So that's a good word we should bring back. We should all start talking like we're in the 14th century. Fobbing people. But also don't fob people. I don't think you should be fobbing people. I don't think it's good to deceive and cheat people. I am opposed to fobbing. Now we have the second form of fob. Noun from 1630. Number 1, the synonym is watch pocket. Oh, okay, this has gotten interesting. Maybe if people are stealing watch pockets, don't you steal my watch pocket? They are fobbing them? Number 2 is a short strap, ribbon, or chain attached especially to a pocket watch. Now, why do we have 2 different terms for this thing? The watch that you put in your pocket, it can be called a pocket watch, or you can call it a watch pocket. What is a watch pocket, though? Is it different than a pocket watch? I don't know. So the chain, the thing that the pocket watch is attached to, is the fob. But it's also the watch pocket, whatever that is. Number 3, an ornament attached to a fob chain. An ornament attached to... So I guess if you want to fancy up your fob chain, you got a pocket watch on one end, but you're like, the chain is kind of boring. I want to fancy it up. I want to put little chains, those little charms on it. That can be called a fob. And then maybe you can see where this is going to a current day definition of fob. Well, let's look at the etymology, because I have some thoughts about this. This is perhaps akin to the Greek dialect word fupa, F-U-P-P-E, which means pocket. And so I think that this is directly connected to the cheating and the deceiving fob, people taking things out of other people's pockets. And then they were like, so maybe that action was fob, but it's also the pocket is the fob. But then the chain, like, well, I don't want people fobbing my watch pocket, so I need to put a thing on it. I need to keep a thing in my pocket, and that the thing that's going to hold the thing in the pocket is where I'm also going to call it pocket, because it's holding the thing in my pocket, so I don't get fobbed. So the fob is holding the fob in the fob, so you don't get fobbed. That was the chain is holding the watch pocket in the pocket, so you don't get cheated. Now, maybe the watch pocket is literally the pocket for the watch. Didn't even think about that. It's the very specific pocket. You know, pants makers, they got to make that very specific pocket just for watches. Because watches didn't used to come on wrists. They used to come in pockets. All right, fob. Fascinating. Now, I don't think we're going to see this other fob. So many of us have these fobs now. It's a little electronic thing that you use to open doors, usually. I mean, there's other uses too, I guess, but it's a very common thing that a lot of us have to get into your business, to get into your car, whatever. You got to do your business in your car. So we have these fobs. The key fob, yeah. I mean, mine's over there. You got to hit the button on that one. Some of them you just hold up to the thing and it opens. So, yeah, it all seems like it comes from the pocket and the thing holding the thing in the pocket and the thing that goes in the pocket and getting cheated and all that stuff. Never thought about the etymology of fob. Wonderful, wonderful journey we just went on. Now we have FOB, all caps, abbreviation for free on board. And I don't know what context we're talking about. Fob off, 2 words, verb from 1597, looks to be just transitive. Number 1, to put off with a trick, excuse, or inferior substitute. You're putting somebody off. To put off, is that the correct way to think about put off? If you are doing this tricksy thing to someone else, you're giving them an inferior substitute. Is it cake? Is it cake? The people who are trying to figure out if it's cake or not, they're getting fobbed off because they have been tricked by cake. I would love to be fobbed off by cake as long as I get to eat the cake. Okay, number 2, to pass off or offer as genuine. And the thing that you are passing off as genuine would be something spurious, which I think really just means it's fake. Yes. So you are fobbing off this fake thing to somebody else, so people trying to sell stuff out of their trunk, those fake Gucci things, purses, glasses, shoes, all those fancy things that people like. Chanel, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of popular brands. You're fobbing them off. You're trying to pass it off as genuine, although a lot of people who buy that stuff, they know they're not, so they're not getting fobbed off. They're just trying to get something kind of fancy for cheap. Number 3 is to put aside. To put aside. Just setting it aside, okay? The example is, now fob off what once they would have welcomed eagerly. That is a quote from Walter Lippmann. Now fob off what once they would have welcomed eagerly. Now they're putting it aside. They used to welcome this thing eagerly, or these people. Ah, yes, please come in, hang out. Please have some cappuccino foam. But now they're like, we don't like you anymore, so just fob off. Fob off. I feel like this is a phrase that we should be using to people. Just fob off. I'm like, what? I don't even know what that means. I'm setting you aside. I'm putting you aside. Cause you go need to you gotta be in the corner. Now we have FOC, all caps, abbreviation for free of charge. Everybody wants stuff FOC, free of charge. I don't have to pay for it. Yes, please, I shall take that. That thing that is FOC. Now, focaccia. FOCACCIA. This is a noun from 1881. I remember once when I was quite a bit younger saying the word focaccia near my mom, and she was like, what did you say? She thought I said a bad word. Okay, so focaccia is a flat Italian bread typically seasoned with herbs and olive oil. And I would love to eat just a whole loaf of focaccia right now. Now, here's the thing, though. I believe that focaccia in Italy is different than the focaccia we think of in America. At a certain point, probably in the 90s, focaccia became very popular in America, and it was always this thick, kind of foamy, squishy bread that, of course, had all the seasonings on top and everything. But we like to do things a little extra in America. So I think we had extra seasonings, we had extra bread. But I was recently in Italy, and I got some focaccia, and it was just like this definition said. It was like a thin pizza dough kind of thing. I think I had a couple of them, but yeah, one of them was a big circle, and it was thin. You know, it was good, especially you're dipping it in the olive oil. Oh, gotta dip it in lots of olive oil. Yummy, yummy. Maybe I'll get some foam cells from all that olive oil. But yes, it's a different kind of thing from what I think of as American focaccia than Italian focaccia. And I will never stop saying focaccia. So yes, this is an Italian word. Let's see, it comes down to the Latin word focus, which means hearth, which I guess probably often was kind of the focus of the household, the hearth where you stay warm. That's where everybody wants to hang out. And so maybe they would cook it on the focus, on the hearth, and then everybody would hang out there, and it would be like the focus of a household. Everybody, once the focaccia is delivered, once it's ready to go, everybody is going to surround the focaccia, and it will be the focus of the situation. And you tear off a piece, and you put the olive oil on it, and you eat it, and you're very happy. Focaccia. Focaccia. This says focaccia. Focaccia. Now we have focal. F-O-C-A-L. Adjective from 1693 of relating to being or having a focus. Focally is an adverb. This is focal. If you're looking at the video, this is focal because I am the focus. You must look at my face. I don't want the focus taken off of me. I don't even know if this sound effect, I don't know. We're just going to keep on going. Now we have focal infection. Focal infection. 2 words, noun from circa 1923. A persistent bacterial infection of some organ or region, especially one causing symptoms elsewhere in the body. So the infection is where the problem is. Maybe I got a focal infection here in my shoulder, but the symptoms are happening way over here in my left butt. The focal infection. I keep on switching it to injection. Nope. Maybe you can get a focused injection at the focal infection. Next we have focalize. Verb from 1845 starting with transitive. Number 1. To bring to a focus. Maybe this is a lens, camera lens. You are focusing, you're focalizing it. You got to turn the circle. But what else? You could bring into a focus. Just maybe it's the focaccia. You're putting it on the platter in front of everybody. So then you are focalizing the people, and they will be focused on the focaccia. Number 2 for focalize. This synonym is localize. Yep. Intransitive. Number 1. To come to a focus. This synonym is concentrate. Maybe you are focalizing the foam into a big foamy mass. Number 2. The synonym again is localize. Focalization is a noun. Okay, that's it for that. And now we're going to go focal length. 2 words, noun from 1693. And I believe, yes, it was in the previous episode when we had the word F number. We talked about focal length and that sort of stuff. So we're going to talk a bit more about it, I guess. But also, I guess I'll just re-put in a link in the show notes for all of this camera stuff, lens stuff. So, focal length is the distance from a focus, the distance of a focus from the surface of a lens or curved mirror. So let's break out this lens again. So the front of the lens, well, it has a UV filter on it, but basically there's the front of the lens. And so depending on how the lens is built, whether it's a wide-angle lens or a normal lens or a telephoto lens, a long lens, there's a focus point beyond it. And the length from that focus point to the front of the lens is the focal length. And so, but it's all very technical and scientific-y, I think. And I believe that's, the focus, because it attaches to the thing and then it has to go onto a sensor or where the film is. So it's usually fairly close depending on the camera and everything. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of different types of cameras and lenses out there. And so this one is a wide angle. You can partially tell because it's kind of short. And so there's lenses, there's glass pieces inside of this. And actually it can adjust. It's kind of a zoom lens. It's a macro lens, and so it's adjusting. It's very shallow, though. And so at some point, all the light goes through here, and then it comes out this end, and it gets focused at a point back here. But I think this is like it must say on here, I want to say this is like a 15 millimeter lens. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, wait, maybe it's on here. Oh, but this is covering it. Let's see. Yes, there it is. 15 millimeter f4 wide macro 1:1. But 15 millimeters is very short. So I've always been a little confused as to what is the 15 millimeters actually measuring? Is it maybe is it from the back part to the focus part? Is that 15 millimeters? No, I don't think so. It's all very complicated. But go look in the link in the show notes for stuff. Well, I need to learn more about this too. So that's focal length. Distance of a focus from the surface of a lens or curved mirror. Now we have focal plane. 2 words, noun from 1889. A plane that is perpendicular to the axis of a lens or mirror and passes through the focus. So wait a minute, are we talking about the focus is on the other side of the thing? The distance of a focus. This is getting more interesting. I feel like this is the kind of thing that I really should know. I mean, I know where the focal plane is. The focal plane is in front of the lens. So, I didn't put the lens cap back on. So if this is the lens and you're focusing right here, this is the focal plane. This whole area, it's perpendicular to the lens, which is going in this direction. Of course, this is all very visual, and you must look at the video for this. And I feel like I'm giving a lot of bad information, but there's also lenses. There's tilt lenses where you can actually tilt it from this point here where it connects to the camera. You can tilt it around and do very weird things, and that focal plane now angles. You can get some very weird effects. You can actually change the focal plane. It doesn't have to be stuck perpendicular to the lens. And so, yeah, that's that. Now we have focal point. 2 words, noun from 1713. Number 1 is the 1A definition for the word focus, which will be in the next episode. And number 2 is the 5A definition for the word focus, which will be in the next episode. Yeah, there's a lot of definitions for focus. So that's the focal point. It's probably a point out there that you are focusing on. Bloop. This camera that you're looking at me through, I have set the focus point to be right around here where my face is, because I don't like the autofocus. It was very distracting, and I pretty much just stay here anyway. And so I would like to be, I think if I go back a little bit, am I more in focus? I don't know. It's still pretty much the same. It looks like most of the stuff in this is in focus. But if I go too close, then we're getting out of focus, and that's not good. Okay, so now we move on to focal ratio, noun from 1926. The synonym is F number, which was in the previous episode. And now we move on to our last word, which I have no idea how to pronounce. It is, I don't know, focusal? F-O apostrophe C apostrophe S-L-E. It is a variation of forecastle, F-O-R-E-C-A-S-T-L-E, forecastle, which I have no idea what that is. I'm not going to look ahead, but I don't know how or why. Is this just a shortened version of forecastle? Why are we shortening it in this very strange way? It looks very old, and maybe you say focusal, or maybe you just say forecastle. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know what a forecastle is. It's the castle in front of other castles? Maybe. All right, it's time to pick a word of the episode. Today we had foam, foam, foam cell, foamed plastic, foam flower, foam rubber, foamy, fob, fob, F-O-B, fob off, F-O-C, focaccia, focal, focal infection, focalize, focal length, focal plane, focal point, focal ratio, and focusal. I'm tempted to pick focal length and those sorts of things connected to lenses, but I feel like I have a lot of education to still go through to learn about that fully. I do appreciate the focal lengths. I like them all. I like the 8 millimeters all the way to the 300 millimeters and everything in between. But I'm gonna pick focaccia as the word of the episode. I want focaccia. I want focaccia. Give me some focaccia. I'm gonna dip it in olive oil. Focaccia, focaccia, focaccia is making me happy. Fantastic. We have not watched any more movies. We still need to watch the sixth Jurassic Park movie. We haven't gotten across to that. We don't always have a lot of time to watch movies. We make time sometimes, but maybe we're gonna go see a movie tonight, in fact. We watched. We started watching The Studio. I think I mentioned that. We watched 2 more episodes last night, and that is it's a very stressful show, but it's a really interesting look into the Hollywood studio world, and they have lots of long one-shots, which are very impressive, and the acting is great, and it's high energy, and it's fast, and it's very fun. Okay, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for checking out this show, and until next time, this is Spencer not eating focaccia. He's very sad. Dispensing information. Goodbye. Mmm.